this will lead right into that coaching summit. And in essence, what you're going to get, guys, is you're going to get an additional almost 2 months of coaching of things that I was going to cover at the coaching summit, right? And I'm going to be breaking those things down and getting very granular. And so we put you into the $1 Million Mentoring Program. Some of you have purchased the $1 Million Mentoring Program, right? Some of you have purchased that program, and that's what you're in right here. So I'm going to do sessions in July. Then I'm going to do sessions in August, and we're going to break a lot of this stuff down. And I wish so badly that when I was 20 to 30 years old, I had a mentor. Now I had a neighbor. This is the funny thing. I had a neighbor when I was a basketball coach that was a professional speaker. And he literally lived, I had a condo unit. Chris Cannon, you'll appreciate this. I paid $119,000 for that condo. You would think I was living in a mansion. I loved it, man. I mean, I loved it. And I had this 2-bedroom condo, and I was single, and I had my bedroom, and I took the second bedroom and turned it into an office. Well, one day I'm out walking around my subdivision of condos, and I meet this guy, and I say, man, what do you do for a living? And he said, I'm a professional speaker. And I'm like, oh, really? Like a professional speaker? Like you speak for a living? He said, oh yeah. He said, I'm doing real well. He didn't tell me how much money he made, but I knew he was earning some income. He was about 50 or 60 years old. And he began to give me some mentoring. Like, coach, you need to do this. You need to get to know this. You need to go here. You need to go to this boot camp. You need to get involved with the Speakers Association. You need to be a trainer for Skill Path. And thank goodness it was kind of a little unofficial mentorship. It was kind of a little unofficial mentorship, but man, it was great. He sped up my life so much. I mean, he really, really helped me get to a much higher level in my life. So I'm excited about mentoring you through something I have been doing since literally I was 15 years old, guys. Okay. When I was a high school basketball player at 15 years old, a local dentist in my city had a dramatic arts background. He ran the local art center, and the local art center, they put on plays, and I was not in dramatic arts at all. Okay. I was into girls and basketball. Okay. That's what I was into, girls and basketball and baseball. And so this dude come to me at 15 years old, Leo, and he said to me, he said, man, I see some potential in you. He said, I take one kid per year and I groom them in how to speak and write speeches. And I would like to spend the next year grooming you. And I was like, what? Like, you see potential in me? He's like, oh yeah, I see a lot of potential in you. So he said, here's what I want you to do. And he was wealthy. He was a local dentist. And in my little town, the dentists were wealthy compared to everybody else. And he said, what I want you to do is I want you to come to my house every night after basketball practice for 2 hours. And I'm going to teach you how to write a speech. I'm going to teach you how to make eye contact with an audience. I'm going to teach you how to have a cadence and a rhythm. So if you notice, I have a cadence and a rhythm when I speak. He said, I'm going to teach you how to work a room. I'm going to teach you how to be a professional speaker. Now, that one skill of communication has helped me to produce maybe $10 million in the last X number of years. Just being able to speak and communicate. Does everybody see that? Now, where did it start? It started with this professional mentor who mentored me at 15 years old. And it literally changed my whole life. So, you know, I always said, I want to mentor other people. I want to get to the point where I'm mentoring other people. I have not put on a $1 Million Coaching Summit until last year, after I had produced millions of dollars of revenue and speaking, millions in coaching, publishing books, writing 16 books. So now I'm in a position to mentor and coach you. So this is going to be your program. Any question you want to ask me, do not ever leave one of these sessions without asking me the hard questions that you want to ask me. Okay. Don't ever leave one of these sessions and say, I didn't get my money's worth. Don't ever leave. I'm here to coach you in how to help you grow a speaking, coaching, training, publishing business. I have done all parts of that. I'll tell you exactly how much money we generate through speaking, exactly through coaching, exactly through writing books, exactly through licensing. I'll tell you exactly how we do everything. I'll tell you who's coached me and what they've taught me. So I'm really very excited about this. Out of everything I get to do, this is one of my favorite things, coaching coaches. So we're going to have a lot of fun, man. We're going to have a lot of fun. Okay. Now, so you understand the structure. The structure is set up for me to mentor you. There's 2 sessions in July, and then there will be 4 sessions in August, 6 total sessions. Each session you will have homework and assignments, and I want you to turn those in to me personally. They're not going to be like writing a dissertation. Okay. I wrote a dissertation and it got turned down 7 times when I was on my doctorate. Okay. My dissertation got turned down 7 straight times when I was working on my doctorate degree. It was miserable. It's going to be simple assignments that are going to force you to get clear. Okay. It's going to force you in what your next moves are. It's going to force you to be able to produce at a higher frequency. Okay. So today we're going to get started. Does anybody have any questions before I get started? Okay. So here's what I would tell you. You need to make every one of these. If you don't make them, it's okay. We record this. We'll send the replay out to everybody so you can watch it. I strongly recommend that you watch the replays over and over and over, because there's going to be some key things that I'm going to teach that you really, really need to know. Okay. Now, today's topic is real simple. I'm going to teach you how to position by concept. Okay. And I will send you these notes. So I'll send you directly my notes so you've got exactly what I'm covering today. Okay, we'll send that out to you. But we're going to talk about how you position by concept. You say, well, why would you start there? My first business coach was a guy named Mark LeBlanc. And Mark LeBlanc coached speakers, authors, people that were earning millions of dollars. And here's the first thing he said to us: before you become famous, and people are coming to see you because you're known, you have to create incredible concepts that people are attracted to. Okay. Now you guys may go see Tony Robbins today. You may go see somebody you think is famous today, but until you become famous, the reason people really come is they're coming to learn a concept. They're coming to learn a construct. They're coming to learn a methodology, right? They're coming to learn a system that can do what? Solve a problem they have. Okay? Too many people have very vague concepts, right? Like you see people come up with a concept and it's unique to them, but it doesn't affect a big enough target demographic, right? It's like, man, that topic. So the concept can either be a niche topic or it can be a topic that affects the masses. Okay. Like if you sold $40 million of insurance, you may put together a course called 0 to 40 million, how I went from nothing to one of the top industry people in the world. That's going to be specific to a niche audience, people selling insurance. Now let's get even more specific. What if you're selling final death expense insurance and you say, this is how I went from a single insurance agent to building a call center that does 50 million in final death expense insurance. Everybody see that? That's a niche topic. Okay. If you notice the topics I create topics that are more broad topics. Okay. That I think millions of people will be interested in. Like my new book is called Flip the Switch: How to Activate the Prey Drive in You and Your Team. Well, what team leader in America doesn't want their employees to have their prey drive activated? Okay. It's a broad topic. So who is it affecting? It's affecting Sean Vernon, who says, I want to learn the psychology of flipping the switch for me. And I also want to learn it for my team. So that's a book that I will probably get a 6-figure book contract on, a 6-figure advance. And also that's a book that'll be out in bookstores, airports, everywhere. And I'll go through traditional publishing for that book. Okay. And I'll explain during this program how you do that. If you got an idea and you want to be in the bookstores and airports, how to do that. So the first thing we got to come up with is this. So here's my notes. Number 1, the concept is everything. Without a concept, we have nothing. Okay. The concept has to solve a serious problem. Just like you hear me say, money changes hands when problems are solved, right? Money changes hands when problems are solved. The only reason I'm going to come hear your concept or buy your book is because I think that book will solve my problem. Everybody hear that? Now think on that one concept. Okay. My phone kept ringing, and I have a four-week-old son, so I'm gonna make sure it wasn't my wife calling me. Okay. Now, when you think about this, concept, if it doesn't solve a problem for me, why would I pay money to come hear it? Why would I pay money to buy the book? Why now? Okay, now we're not talking. If you got a novel, if you got a fiction book or a fiction concept, that's one thing. Okay, and that's for entertainment. That's for entertainment. But if you're writing a nonfiction book and you have a nonfiction concept, you got to ask yourself, like, why would I pay for that concept? Does it really solve a problem for me? Okay. It has to attack something. This concept has to attack something. Okay. It has to get attention. The concept has to get attention. Now, I'm going to give you some of the best marketing advice I've ever heard in my life. Okay. Some of the best marketing advice I've ever heard in absolutely in my life. And that is, if you don't have a concept that repels some people, you won't have a concept that attracts the right people. Does everybody hear what I just said? If your concept is bland or boring, if you don't have a concept that offends some people, you won't have a concept that attracts the right people. Some of you create concepts and it's like, come on, man. I don't have a feeling either way about your concept. It's just blah. It's just like, okay. Okay. You need something that people go, boom. I love it or I hate it. I'm in or I'm out. Okay. Because once you get a book, this is a mistake I made in my very first book, my very first published book, Zebras and Cheetahs. Now listen to this concept. I'm going to say it and I want you to tell me what it means. The book was called Zebras and Cheetahs. Now, if you don't know, I want somebody to tell me what they think that book is about. Zebras and Cheetahs. Chris Gooden, I'm going to unmute you. I want you to tell me the book was called Zebras and Cheetahs. On the front of the book, it had a half zebra and a half cheetah, like a chebra. Okay. Now, what do you think that book is about?
To me, that book would be about transitioning from being a slow mover to someone attacking.
All right, good. John Bird, I see you got it. Hold it up. Let everybody see that book. All right, that book was in every airport, every bookstore. Hold it up one more time, John. That was the cover of that book. The publisher convinced me for it to be this ugly yellow color because they thought it would get attention, right? And the book was Zebras and Cheetahs, so it's got a zebra body with cheetah legs, if you see that. Now, what is the problem with that concept? Okay, David Strauss, what could be the problem with that concept?
The reader or the public will not identify with it. It's not solving a problem.
That's exactly right. Now, here's what I thought when I wrote the book, guys, and I got a major publishing deal on that. Wiley published that book, which is one of the top business publishers in the world. Here's what I thought. A zebra looks different than every other animal in the freaking animal kingdom. A cheetah runs faster than every other animal. I thought a person would walk in the bookstore, look at the book cover and go, oh, who doesn't want to look different and run faster than everybody else? And I would go to the Nashville airport and I would stand there and watch people look at my book. And it was me, Tony Robbins, okay, John Maxwell, and they would walk up and look at the book and do this. And I would walk over to them and I'd say, hey, what do you think about that book? Looks pretty good, doesn't it? And they would go, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's about. And I said, man, it's a zebra and a cheetah, man. It's about looking different and running faster than everybody else. They said they thought it was a kid's book. Hold it back up, John. See, some of you are going to overcomplicate this. Now let's be real smart about this. Chris Cannon, what should I have named the book? The cover's not bad. Okay, I'm not saying the cover's bad. But what I didn't understand is how complicated it would be for people to get it. Now, the concept is Zebras and Cheetahs. All right, Chris, what could I have named the book? That's simple. That's simple.
How to stand out and run faster.
There you
Or
go.
How to stand out and
If I had to do that book over, here's what the book title would be: How to Look Different and Run Faster Than Your Competitors. Everybody see that? Everybody follow that? This is a mistake I made, okay? That book is still selling copies, by the way. That book has got me major contracts. When I speak on it, I used to wear an ugly zebra print jacket to stand out. Why? Because we have to get attention for the concept we have, okay? I thought people was going to go buy that book like people bought Harry Potter. I thought there's going to be people lined around the bookstores to buy that book. You know what? And my partner who co-wrote that with me came to me and he said, dang, we're not selling any copies. And I'm like, because they don't understand what the book's about, man. Right? They don't understand what the book's about. We got to make them understand. So I bought an ugly zebra print jacket from Loudmouth Golf. I went out on the speaking circuit and spoke everywhere I did, and they loved the jacket and they bought the book. Everybody see that? Okay. I did a book signing at the Nashville airport, and I called the local zoo. Y'all will appreciate this. I called the local zoo and asked them, could I rent a live cheetah? Okay. Here's what they said. No, you can't rent a live cheetah. It's a wild animal. I'm like, well, man, it'd make for a great day at the airport, right? If a wild cheetah was running around. So we got these big zebra print and fake animals. We took them to the airport. People would walk by the bookstore. I'd be sitting out front with my zebra print jacket, and people would walk by and go, and people would walk up to me and say, man, I don't know who you are, but you seem like you're important. And I said, man, I wrote the book Zebras and Cheetahs. And people would buy 5 or 10 copies right there. They said it was the single most books sold at the airport in the history of Hudson at the Nashville International Airport. So Hudson tried to get me to come back every Saturday and do it. And I'm like, man, I ain't coming back every Saturday doing this dog and pony show. Okay. Now, so let me stop right there and ask you questions about the concept. What questions do you need to ask? Because then I'm going to get into a new part. Just raise your hand and I'll call on you if you got a question about your concept. How many people think they've got a concept strong enough to fit what I just said? Solves a real problem. There's a real market. People would pay real money. Okay. How are we going to know? How, anybody want to share theirs? Sean Vernon, share yours with the group. Got to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yep, I'm unmuted. Well, I think we've been working on a couple things, but I think I'm going with hit the ground running. How to supercharge or fast charge a team.
Okay. How to fast charge a team, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Supercharge. I was even going between fast charge or supercharge.
All right. Who's going to pay good money for the concept?
People who are trying to build teams.
All right. Where are you going to start?
Where am I going to start?
Yeah. What industry are you going to start in? Is it going to be everybody? Are you going to go after door-to-door people? Are you going to go after solar people? Are you going to?
I'm going to do direct sales.
Okay. Direct sales. All right, good. I was having dinner with Sharon Lecter on Saturday night in Phoenix. She wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and with Robert Kiyosaki. She sold 42 million copies of that book. Look how simple the concept is. I had 2 dads. I had a rich dad and I had a poor dad. Okay. If you look at the subtitle, it's what the rich know that the others never figure out, or the secrets the rich know that the others never figure out. Rich dad, poor dad. 42 million copies. How strong is that concept? Everybody see that? That's how you sell a book, guys. Now, you know the number one people who bought that book, Sean Vernon? At first, they self-published it Amway. They got it into Amway, and almost every Amway person in America bought that book. It was a self-published concept. Self-published concept. Now, let me ask you a question. Leo, are you still working with Patrick Bet-David or no? Unmute yourself right there. Can you unmute yourself? There you go.
No, I have my own agency. Patrick is one of the companies that I work with.
Okay. Now, Patrick Bet-David started PHP. How many agents does PHP affiliate themselves with?
I believe he's at about 15,000 right now. 15,000.
So here's the deal. You guys know what it takes to make a book a bestseller? 20,000 copies sold. If you sell 20,000 copies, either individually, okay, or through the distribution, if you self-publish and sell 20,000 copies, you can say you have a best-selling book. Now, there are ways for you to get a best-selling book by understanding the algorithms on Amazon. We have a guy on our team that does that. We can take your book and make it a bestseller on Amazon. because we understand the algorithms. We understand how to make it work. And listen, when people tell you there's no secret, David Perez, they're lying to you. There's always secrets. There's always secrets, okay? These books that you see, like Dr. Howard writes a book and he says, I want it to be a bestseller. There's a methodology to make it a bestseller on Amazon. Maybe in a certain category or 2 or 3 different categories. Then he can go around and he can tell other people, I got a best-selling book. I'm a doctor. I'm an author. I'm a best-selling author. You understand what I'm saying? He can put that on his website. It drives up his status, which is a person of interest. Okay. Any other questions on concepts? Because the first thing I'm going to be asking you guys is tell me, I want to see your concept and is it strong enough? Okay. Now don't get your feelings hurt if I tell you that it ain't strong enough. Okay. Now I may tell you it ain't strong enough, Kevin Jones, and you may sell 42 million copies like Rich Dad Poor Dad. You're right. It's just my opinion. But let me tell you, I look at a lot of books, guys, and I go, dang, like here's a great concept, Atomic Habits. That's a killer concept. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, 5 Dysfunctions of Teams, 5 Disciplines of a Learning Organization. Here's one of the greatest concepts of all time. Okay. Here's one of the greatest, Good to Great. Everybody see that? These are great concepts. Okay, so do you know where Collins came up with that concept? He wrote a book called Built to Last. Now let me ask you a question. Who's Built to Last for? John Burt? If you had a company, who would buy a book Built to Last?
I don't know.
Successful companies. Now, but here's the deal. So he's having dinner one night with his buddy, and he said, hey, have you read my new book, Built to Last? And his buddy said, hey, man, you know I love you, but I have no use for that book whatsoever. And he's like, what? I spent 5 years writing that book. He said, man, I'm not trying to be built to last. What I'm trying to do is go from good to great. Now, how many people out there trying to go from good to great? Why do you think he sold 20 million copies of that book? Killer concept, okay? All right, now, here's some things you got to know on this concept piece. Number 1, you must be an authority in this area. You need to write books that you're an authority in, guys. You must be an authority in this area. What I'm paying you for is your past. Think of it this way. Your past helps me build my future. Your past helps me build my future. Okay? Now, some people, and let me tell you why this is important. If you try to talk about things you're not qualified to talk about, if you try to write about, if you try to speak about things you've had no revelation about, things you've got no conviction about, things you've had no success doing, then what's going to happen is, when you speak about it, I'm going to know it. Okay? I'm going to know you don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to know you haven't paid the price. I'm going to know you haven't put the work in. I'm going to know you're not the real deal. It's one thing to write a book. It's another thing to be an expert. Everybody see that? It's one thing to write a book. It's a whole nother thing to be a complete expert in something. So I did not write a book about winning championships until I won a championship. Everybody see that? Okay. Then I said, this is how I won a championship. I am an expert. I've done something less than 1% of people in coaching will ever do. Then I did not write Single Digit Millionaire until I became a Single Digit Millionaire. Everybody see that? Then I said, this is how I went from a high school basketball coach to being worth $6 million. Everybody see that? And I said, here's my process. This is how I did it. If you want to know how I did it, read the book. Okay? So for you, I want you to go back into your past, and I want you to think about, what have you done? What have you created? What have you accomplished? Here's one. What have you suffered through? What type of heartaches and heartbreaks and breakdowns have you had? When I wrote the book Swag, I wrote that book because I went through 6 months of depression, clinical depression. Threw up every day from a broken heart. Had to take an engagement ring back to somebody I proposed to. Lost every bit of my confidence. Then I studied confidence so much and so hard, I became one of the foremost thinkers in the world about confidence. Not just confidence, codifying confidence. Okay, everybody see that? So if Melissa Hall completely loses her confidence, how many adults completely lose their confidence at some point in their life? How many kids lose their confidence? Do you know that one of the number one reasons people hire me to be their coach is because I've written a book on confidence? I've codified. Now, why did I write the book on confidence? Because I lost every bit of mine when I went through that breakup at 25. What kind of emotion and passion do you think I have when I talk about that story when I'm speaking? Right? What kind of energy do you think I have when I'm talking about it? What kind of connection do you think I make with audiences around the country when I talk about going through that breakup and being clinically depressed and not being able to get out of bed in the morning and then turn around and writing a book about that? See, I can connect to a person's heart. I can connect to their spirit, okay? Now, question from David Strauss. Let's see, what's the title of your book? It's called Swag. Swag, 6 battle-tested strategies to build, maintain, and protect your greatest asset. It was called A Course in Confidence. And I changed the title at the last minute. There it is. Kevin Jones has got it. See that swag right there? Swag is a slang term for confidence, right? Now, what I'm trying to show you is I'm trying to create a concept that I can speak on. I'm going to show you this in just a second. Speak on, do podcasts about, do one-day events on, boot camps on, retreats on. I'm trying to create a concept that you're out there and you go, dang, I got to go get that concept, man. I got to go get that concept. Now, here's some concepts that I created that I want you to think through. Then I'm going to show you how I use those to make money. How many people think there's good concepts out there that don't make any money? So here, in my opinion, if you can't monetize it, I don't care how good it is. If you can't get attention for it, if it doesn't solve a problem and you're not making any money with it, then I don't care if it's the best concept in the world, guys. Okay? Here's some of the concepts I've created. I want you to write these things down that I do with them. This is one of my biggest concepts ever, person of interest. How to become a must-have versus a nice-to-have. Okay? Here's another way I say it. How to become the go-to player in your space. Now, how many people want to become people of interest because of that? Okay, so Leo, think about this. Here's another one. How to never chase a lead again. How to become so valuable that people are chasing you. Like, these are subtitles for person of interest. When I'm pitching person of interest, let's say I'm on the phone with a major insurance company, major real estate company, major mortgage company, and they go, man, we want you to speak to our people. I never go wrong with person of interest. What if I teach all of your people how to become people of interest and they attract people to them? Okay. Now, I've done this with, I was talking to Doc Howard this morning about this. I've done this with Dr. Hotze, successful doctor in Houston. I've done it with a real estate agent who went from doing 38 deals to 160 deals. I've done it with the mortgage originator who wanted to do 60 million. Now she's doing 167 million. You know what I helped them become? People of interest. So that I've got them writing books, doing podcasts, doing speaking engagements, doing their own coaching programs. What does this do? It separates them from the audience. What it does is it creates space between them and their competition. Oh, that's the dude that's got the book, the podcast, the show, the whatever. Okay. I flew down here tonight to Florida to pick up one guy who's running $100 million company. And I couldn't get his attention. Y'all appreciate this. And I kept trying to get his attention. He wants to talk. He wants to do a show on CNBC and he wants to do venture capital. And he's like, well, I'm busy. I'm in Florida. I said, hey, no problem. I'll fly on my plane down there to have dinner with you. And then I'll bring you back to Nashville on my plane with me because he wanted to come back to Nashville tomorrow. Then he's going to turn around and rent my plane and fly back down to Florida to be with his wife. Now, here's the deal. That's person of interest status. How many people believe that? Okay. Hey, you ain't got time to have dinner? Here's what I'll do. I'll fly on my jet down there just to have dinner with you. How do you say no to that? He couldn't say no. He's like, all right, come on down, man. And I said, better yet, you want to come to Nashville? Yes, sir. I said, I'll just put you on my plane and fly you back on my dime. I'll pay for it. Now, what do I have? Chris Cannon, what have I got now? Now I've got him captive for at least 1 hour on that flight, just me and him. Now, is that worth me spending the 5,000 it cost me to fly down here? Yes or no? We're not going to talk about 5,000 bucks, guys. We're going to talk about $1 million or $10 million. We're not going to talk about small things. That raises your person of interest status. So one of the first things I did is I sent him all my books, personally signed. Then I sent him my podcast. Then I sent him some of the people I've worked with. This is why you need the book. This is why you need the concept. So write these down. When you have a concept like person of interest, you do this. You write a book. Number 2, you have an audio. Number 3, you turn it into a one-day event. Number 4, then you turn it into a 2-day event. Number 5, we turn it into a podcast. Number 6, we turn into speaking engagements. Number 7, we get into licensing, which is where the big money is made, is in licensing. Okay? That's where other people are renting your ideas. They're paying you rent to use your concept. Okay? Then number 8, we get into bait, let's call it bait, which is going to be ClickFunnels. We use the concept to drive new leads in. I was checking my leads today in my active campaign, and I was looking at just both salespeople. One of them has 675 people on the hit list, 275 people in the farm club, 20 deals, roughly 800 to 900 leads for them to call on. Does that make sense? That's thousands of people I'm driving in a month that want to buy something. They're interested in something. I just got to provide products for them. You know, the number one way I'm driving leads right now, I'm giving away my top 4 books for free. If you go to my website, let me share my screen. I'll show you, because this is the way you need to be thinking about using a book. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Let's see here. Share this. And let me go into, let me go into, let's just close this out and go into another one. All right, let me show you this. Now, if you go to my website right now, you guys can see this? John Burke, can you see it? All right, you go, now here's my concept. World authority on activating your drive. That's Prey Drive. Look at how I'm using my planner. Get your planner free. Okay, now, as you go down, look at how I'm positioned. World authority on activating Prey Drive. Then you go down. Best-selling author. Top books right there. Everybody see that? Now let's see what happens here. Now when you go to my store, look at this part right here. Look at these concepts. What does that say? Free, free. Living with a monster, free. Person of interest, free. $1 million follow-up, free. Now here's what this does. So let's take person of interest. This is one of my top selling ones. We're actually running ads right now for this one and selling as many as 50 a day. So when you get this book, this is my newest one, Legacy Selling. When you get this book, okay, then it takes you here, which is a funnel. Then once you buy this book, so look at the concept. Are you looking to create more leads, build deeper networks, close more deals? If you had a selling system, boom, you get the book for free. You pay, I don't know, $7.95. As soon as you do, it asks, would you also like to pick up this book? It takes you to another book. So look at how thorough I am on each book. Overview, video, good optics, good visuals, good branding. Everybody see that? Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because you don't be thinking you need to make $1 million by writing a book. You make $1 million by driving in leads. You don't want the book order, you want the lead. So let's say one of you purchase, let's say David Strauss purchases my book on Swag. Now what do I know? I've got his phone number, I got his email, I got his information. When I call him, I'm gonna say, hey David, I noticed you got my book Swag, man, about confidence. Tell me the number one reason you got that. And he may say, man, I just taken a few hits and I'm really trying to rebuild my confidence. Now, as soon as you buy this, here's what's interesting. It's going to upsell you or give you the opportunity to buy more. Look at all these books that I've written. Now, here's ebooks. So everything I turn into ebook. Okay. Then let's say he buys Swag. it's going to prompt him to buy it on audio. Okay. Oh, these are intensives. No, these are audios. Dang, we're charging too much money for those. I got to talk to my web team. $24 for a daggum download? Come on, guys. Ain't nobody going to buy a download for $24. Maybe they jack it up so you get the book. Now, here, look at this. Here's the concept. Buy the whole thing for $397. But here's what I'm going to try to get David to buy. Now, look at this. So he gets the first one for free. Then he gets in here and he gets the swag intensive. Okay. This is a course on teaching him how to build his confidence. Now he went from free to $97. Everybody see that? Now, what if you don't have a concept? And I'm gonna stop sharing so I can see you. Now, what's your questions about that part right there? If the concept ain't strong enough, if the concept's not even strong enough, you're not even gonna drive anybody in the door. Okay. What questions do you have at this point? Okay. All right. Look.
The 8 pieces that you gave us, or the 8 steps, are those in order, or are you trying to do them concurrently? Do you start with the book, then go to audio, then go? Is it
Yep.
one at a time, or is it you're just working on all of it?
No, I start with the concept, and then I do the book, then I do the audio, then I do the 1 day, then I do the 2 day, then I do the boot camp, and I build it sequentially. It's called a value ladder. So how am I getting people in the door? I'm getting them in because it's what? Kevin Jones, free. Right? It's free. I'm going to give you the book, Kevin. All you got to do is pay for the shipping. I don't want the $3 or $4 I'm going to make off the book, guys. I want Kevin Jones information. I want his name and his phone number and his psychographic, meaning what is he interested in? Well, he's telling me what he's interested in. Right? When he buys the book on confidence, he's telling me what he's interested in. When he buys the book on legacy selling, he's telling me he needs a selling system. When he buys person of interest, so I can go back to him and say, Kevin, did you know that I've got a 1-day event on person of interest, man? And it's $199. Okay. He says, well, I don't have $199, coach. Well, guess what? I've recorded it last year. It's $97. Okay. And I've also got it on audio for $24. Now, I've been trying to figure out why we don't sell them audios. Leo Martinez, I just figured it out, man. We're charging $24 for them. So this was good for me. All right. Now, let's see. I think I've got a question here. I guess trying to get there is the overwhelming part. I'm almost intimidated. Yeah, here's the deal. You don't need to be intimidated. What you need to do is start with one concept. You just need to start with the concept. Okay. I don't want to overwhelm anybody here. I just want to show you the whole thing so you can get in your mind how to use the book. Okay. Now, the last way to use the book that I didn't mention is the online academy. The online academy. Now, pop quiz. David Perez. Why in the world would I want to build an online academy with around my book, or a course online for my book?
Keep engagement, also to another driving to revenue, and you can promote other upcoming stuff. So you can have teasers, I'm assuming, and say, hey, if you like this would pair really well with this, and you've got them hooked for a long time.
100%. Sean, you want to add to that? It's a good answer. Sean?
So you can make money while you're sleeping and sitting on the beach in Florida.
Right. Let me tell you something. That little dude on the online academy don't get tired. He just keeps going. That little dude on that online academy don't ever get tired, man. He just keeps rolling. Okay.
You always look real pumped on there, coach. You always look fresh.
Yeah, thank you. That's my point, because he don't sleep. Okay. So the reason you want to get to online academy with the book, here's what I would do, Kevin Jones. I write a book. You're going to pay people to do this, guys. You're not going to do it. You're going to write the book. I have a guy on my team who can write the book for you. Okay. But some of you have already written the book. You're not going to set these up on Amazon or get them going. You're going to pay a person to do that. And you're going to say, okay, here's the deal. I want you to get this book up on Amazon, and I'm going to do an audio version. And I'd like to do a 1-day event. I'll show you how to do that. Now, let me see if I can answer your question here. David Strauss. Are we going to learn how to set up, fulfill a book giveaway? Yes, I will show you how to do that, a book campaign. Yeah, and I'll probably bring some of my marketing team on to see that, because I use books, number one, to move to get leads, to generate money. Remember, I don't want the money from the books. It's nice, but it ain't gonna make you a millionaire. Where you make the money is using the book as the bait to get the lead. Everybody see that? Okay, now, let's talk about the cycle to being able to promote, sell, and deliver the content. Okay, so we got our concept. Okay. And I'm going to take one of my concepts like swag, and I'm going to give you an example since I've told you that. To really speak on that concept with authority and passion and conviction, you have got to have gone through a cycle. So I want you to write this cycle down. Number one, you had a big revelation. You had a big revelation. You had a big aha moment. Something happened to you. You went through something. You struggled through something. You got knocked down. Somebody walked into your life and said something to you. To be able to speak with authority and conviction, you got to have that revelation. Because of the revelation, step two is you now have the conviction. You now have the conviction. Okay. And now, do you know how many people speak? And I watch them speak and I'm like, I mean, it's like they're just got no passion or energy or connection whatsoever to their topic. This, right? If you don't have that, this is how you win audiences over. Because if I can get you on a stage to speak and you bomb and you're flat, let me tell you something. You ain't going to pick up 6 more speaking engagements. Okay. You may be able to figure out how to get on that stage, but if you cannot deliver your message with some authority and conviction and move people, move them to tears, move them where they're laughing. A good speech to me is when people have laughed, they've cried, they've thought, they've been challenged. I love when people come up to me and say, man, you hit me every way you could hit me. You made me cry. You made me laugh. Okay. Doc Howard just attended an event with me at my lodge, right? I'm completely vulnerable. I looked up at one time and people were crying over some of the stories I told. Sometimes they're laughing. That's how I know, that's why I know I'm doing it right. But unless I have that passion and conviction, I haven't had the revelation. I'm talking about something that's like, I just don't have any energy toward this. So I've had a revelation. Because of the revelation, I now have a conviction. Because of my conviction, I'm now taking action. Okay, and you're going to have to understand this cycle. I start with the heart story, I move to the head, and I finish with the heart. And I learned that from Pete Vargas, one of the best guys in the world. I start with a heart story, something to connect me and you. Mine's always this. I was raised by a single mother who had me when she was 16 years old. I don't remember my dad hugging me, telling me he loved me, ever being involved in my life. And I was raised by this tough, and she used to take me down to the local baseball field where one woman named Mickey Vincent changed my whole life. It was at 6 years old that I figured out everybody needs a good coach in life. Now, do you know how many people I connect to with that story? Right? That's being vulnerable. That's being real. So every time I start off, that's called a story of origin. That's called a story of origin. And I tell that story over and over. When I was 15, one dude, a dentist a local dentist took an interest in me. One guy asked me to be a junior pro basketball coach. Like, these are called stories of origin. And if you don't know how to tell these stories, you don't know how to connect to audiences. These are things that grab a person. Okay. Jim Collins always said a good book grabs a person by the throat and it doesn't let them go. The concept is so strong, you can't put it down. All right. Real emotion comes from conflict. Now, here's one of the biggest things, and then I want to do Q&A. When you've got your concept, if you're going to do any of the things I talked about today to make money with this concept, you have got to learn to codify the concept. Codify means to break it down and teach it to me as if I have no idea how to do it. Okay, so if Denise has got a concept, she's there in Minnesota. If she's got a concept and I want to learn that concept, then she has got to codify that concept, which means she's got to take the big concept and break it down step by step. Okay? I write books in sevens. That's a number of completion in the Bible. Okay? You don't want to write a book in sixes. maybe you do. Okay? But I write books in sevens because it's a number of completion. It's a number of order. I typically write 7 chapters. Under each chapter, I write 3 supporting arguments for my position. Everybody see that? Okay, I could pump these books out. If David Perez said to me, I need a book by tomorrow, I could literally sit down tonight and pump out a 20,000 word book for him. Because I got a formula. I got 7 chapters. I got 3 ways to manifest or 3 ways to produce it. Okay, then I type it up on my iPad. I send it to my team. They package it up. They send me covers, right? And I'm like, I read it 1 or 2 times. And I'm like, boom, go with it. It's ready. It's ready. It's that fast. Okay. When I first started writing books, it took me years, man. I couldn't figure it out. I went go places. I would lock myself up in a little condo like this. I'd be gone for 3 or 4 days. I would try to figure it out. Now it's like, here's my formula. Big concept, 7 chapters, 3 ways to take action on that. Boom. Let's sit down and do it. Everybody see that? Now, we have a guy on our team named Andy Garrison who is now writing the books for a lot of our monster producers. What he does is you could record it, or some of you that speak, he could take your video, he could transcribe it, he could put it into a book. That's what he's doing for a lot of our top monster producers. Is they're not even writing the books. Like Legacy Selling, I didn't write Legacy Selling. He took my videos in my online academy, transcribed it word for word, brought it to me. I added stories. I spent 1 hour on that book. I added stories in the beginning, stories at each one of the chapters, and I said, go with it. Next thing you know, we got a book out. Now, what did I tell you a minute ago? We're selling 50 of those a day, some days. That's 50 new leads per day, right? But we're not selling it. We're giving it away, okay? But are we really giving it away? No, they're paying the shipping. We're making $1 or $2 per book. Now I got the lead. Now I got the most important part, which is the information. And okay, I didn't. So my point is, in today's world, if you want to have a concept, now why is this important to everything? Maybe you don't want to write a book. I know Denise, you're going through Monster Publishing. She's using Monster Publishing to write her book. She's coming to the publishing retreat down there with me in Florida. You may not want to write a book. You may just want to speak or coach or train, or some of you, David Strauss has already written his book. He's already got copies of his book. Now it's like, how do I take this asset and make money with it? Well, the way you make money with it is we got to have something to push people to. So he can now put the book up, give it away for free, right? Get the lead. And then, but he's got to have something to sell them on the back end. He's got to be able to say, come to a 1-day workshop with me, get the intensive with me, right? He's got to be able to, if not, he's just got a book. I buy the book. I can't give him any more money. Even if I want to give him more money, there's nothing for me to buy unless he's going to sell me the shirt off his back. So my point is, if you don't have the concept, then you don't have anything. Even if you write the book, you don't have anything, guys. I wrote Person of Interest before I became a person of interest. It's like I wanted to be a person of interest. So I studied people of interest, and then I said, man, one of these days when I grow up and I'm trying to be a big star, one of these days I want to be that right there. So does that go against what I told you today? Maybe, because I hadn't actually become a person of interest. In coaching, I had become a person of interest, but I hadn't become a person of interest in the whole world yet. So I wrote it from like, right? That's one of my best-selling books is Person of Interest. All right. So here's your homework, and then I'll take Q&A. And I'm going to have Lakin Hibden, who's on here, on my team. I'm going to have her send you this assignment with these notes. Lakin, I'll send you the notes, and then we can make sure they get out to all the people who are on here. Number 1, I want you to create and test the concept. So if you got a concept, I want you to start sharing it with a few people. And here's what I want you to say. I want you to say, I give you permission to tell me if you think this concept sucks. Okay, so Chris Gooden, you go to 3 or 4 or 5 of your close people and you say, man, here's my concept. What do you think about it? And be completely honest. Don't lie to me about this. Like if you think it sucks, tell me it sucks. Okay? And when I say test it, I come up with concepts and I'll pitch it. Like when we do books today, I'll take a concept and we will literally market test it. Meaning I'll say, here are 3 book titles for my new book. Which one do you like the best? Take the Prey Drive book. I wanted to call it Prey Drive. But my publishing team in New York City said, man, people are not going to understand what it means. They don't understand Prey Drive until you explain it. We need a better title. So we went with 20 different titles and I said, I don't like that. I don't like that. Then I come up with Flip the Switch because that's really what I'm doing. I'm flipping the switch in a person. The subtitle is how to activate the Prey Drive in you and your team for massive success or something. Everybody see that? If it was just up to me, I'd have went with Flip the Switch. Kind of like I went with Zebras and Cheetahs. Hey, it'd been nice if somebody told me that concept wasn't that strong. So number 1 is I want you to create and test the concept. Number 2, and this is going to be a little bit harder for you, but it's real important. I want you to codify the steps of the concept. So remember, you got a big concept. Then I want to put it into, you don't have to do 7 like me. You could do 5. You could do 7. Put it into steps for me. And let me tell you why. Let's say I called Leo Martinez tomorrow and said, man, I'm giving up coaching. This coaching's for the birds, right? I'm coming to work on your team and I want to be the fastest selling insurance dude on planet Earth. But I ain't got 20 years to figure this out, Leo. You give me the playbook and you let me take what's been in your brain and you give it to me. And you're like, oh, great, man. It's right here in this book. It's right here. Come to my 3-day boot camp. I'll show you exactly how to do it. How many of you, after going to my boot camp last week, think you understand how I think now better? Raise your hand. Yeah, see? Now, you could watch me online for 3 years and still not understand the way I think versus coming and spending 2 or 3 days with me, right or wrong? Like it all like comes to life. Like even if you read Legacy Selling or all my books, you spend 2 or 3 days with me, it's like, oh, now I understand how it all fits. When he's talking about all this stuff, I understand it. So think of the reason you got to codify this is for that reason. I'm like, Leo, I want the fast track. Give me the blueprint. Well, if he hasn't codified, if he's like, oh, you just got to get your name out there. You got to call more people. And I'm like, well, dang, Leo, that don't help me. I need you to break it down for me. That's codification. So the second part of your homework is to codify. Third step. I want you to build out your library of your vision. Meaning, do you have a desire to speak, coach, train, write books, boot camps, licensing? This is one of the best things a person made me do early on in my career. He said, sit down and write out the books you're going to write. And I'm like, man, I'm going to write one on leadership. I didn't have the titles. I'm going to write one on leadership. I'm going to write one on coaching. I'm going to write one on personal development. Then he said, okay, once you write the one on personal development, what are you going to do with it? I'm like, well, I kind of like these boot camps, man. He's like, okay, write that down. Then he said, what else are you going to do? Well, I need to put it in audio. I'd like to do speaking engagements on it. Maybe I build a coaching program around it. He's like, build out the library. This is a great assignment. Like, what are you going to do with this book? Now, once you have the concept, what are you going to do with it? Okay. And last piece is this. I want you to start practicing. Okay. And I was a high school basketball coach. Those poor kids, you know how many times I practiced my content on them? I would come up with a concept and I'd say, I'm going to practice it on the kids. And I'd go in there and teach the kids the concept. And I could tell when I talked about confidence, man, those kids were like this. Everybody wanted to know about confidence. When I talked about some things, they were like this. Right? It told me what was a good concept and what wasn't a good concept because I practiced. Now, what if you don't have people to practice on? Practice with your friends. Hey, I'm working on a concept. Tell me what you think about it. Let me give it to you. Here's the framework of it. Like you need, when people ask me how do I have such a rhythm and cadence to what I do? It's because I've done it thousands of times. Thousands, over and over and over and over. I don't have to think about it. In sports, it's called muscle memory. Everybody see that? So Sean Vernon's got a team of people. You need to be practicing your concept, man. You may go through the charge concept and your guys don't respond to it. And that's a sample. And you may think you got a good concept. I may even think you got a concept, but the market don't respond to it. The concept ain't strong enough. Practice it. Get feedback. And they'll tell you with their feedback, okay? So those are going to be your assignments from today's session, okay? Those are going to be your assignments from today's session. Today's session was all about one thing, how to position by concept. Okay, good. So Leo says he's got to codify it. That's right. Listen, you guys have had all these experiences. The problem is you hadn't codified your experience. I can hear one concept, right? Like Susie Vargas can give me one concept and I go, that's a strong concept. Okay. Like here's one. I put a concept down. I write them on my notepad because I'm looking for hooks like a songwriter. I'm looking for hooks. I wrote an article last week called In Tough Times, Strong People Get Stronger. Weak people get weaker. That's a concept. I could talk about that for a month. I could turn that into a concept. Here's another concept. Me and Tim Story are doing a mentor program called Comebacks and Confidence. And we're selling it. Comebacks and Confidence. He wrote the book on comebacks. I wrote the book on confidence. So it's Comebacks and Confidence, man. Okay. So he and I are doing a mentoring program for 4 weeks where you get him and me. Listen, we did one thing together the other night and I'm like, man, we need to do something together. He's like, what do you want to call it? I said, Comebacks and Confidence, baby. He's like, I'm in. Now, why is that important? He's got 500,000 Instagram followers. So we've been pushing that out. Now, how do we make money with that, guys? Let's say we put it out to the market and 100 people out of the 500,000 take action. At $9.97, we just made $100,000. He keeps 50 and I keep 50. Now, how many of you would do 4 sessions for 50,000? Raise your hand. Okay, those of you ain't raising your hand. Okay, y'all may be in the slow group. Okay, y'all may need to be in the beginner category with me. Here's the deal. How hard was that? He's got followers. I got followers. We put a concept out. We try to get 100 people out of 500,000. We both make 50,000 a piece. That's a good deal for 4 weeks. Let me do it. What about 4 hours? Would you make 50,000 for 4 hours? Yes or no? All right, then. That's what I want to try to show you guys how to do, man. It ain't that complicated, but it seems complicated when you're trying to do it, right? All right, Q&A time. What we got? Raise your hand if you got a question or you want to put them in there. Any question you got? John Burt, you had one? Let's see here. I got to go back. All right, Melissa Hall, come back to you. John, let's see. Make the call on the field. I like that because John's a referee. Get a little controversy in there, right? I don't know how you can get some controversy in there. Why coaches hate referees. Here's one for you. The necessary evil, referees. Now, here's my point. Get a little controversy in there, man. That's what I would tell you. Okay. All right. Leo said he'd make the call. I like that. Tim's story concept. Melissa Hall does not have to be industry specific. Absolutely not. Do you want to release the book until you have the other products to sell? Yes. The book gives you a message. The book gets you on speaking stages. The book gets you noticed. The book gets you attention. So I don't care if you don't have anything to sell. You need the book, right? You need a concept. Now, if you don't have a book, you just got a concept, then we need to turn into a speaking one sheet so we can get you speaking engagements. Okay. Now let me go back to Doc Howard. Doc Howard comes up with a concept and he hadn't got the book yet. Okay. I would take the concept and say, I would put a press release out and say, Doc Howard is the leading energy specialist in Nashville, works with all the stars. He's got this interesting concept. He's available to come speak on it. Right. And then get out there at the local chamber, get out there at the Rotary, get out there at executives. Don't think I can close a big speaking. Don't think I wouldn't close a big contract going to the Rotary clubs in the morning. Rotary clubs are made up of business people. Business people have the money. So I put Doc Howard out there all over town in Nashville speaking at everything. But before we do that, we got to have a concept that people go, I want that doctor to come speak because he's got a concept. Okay. We want to hear that concept. Everybody see that? Okay. Am I making you think enough? Okay. I'm trying to make you guys think. You can't just because you think it's good, don't mean it's good. We got to figure out a way to get you out there. And other people want to do that. Okay. Any questions for me? I know we went a little bit long tonight. I hope you don't mind. I always like over delivering. Okay. All right. Melissa
Coach,
Hall. Hold on. Melissa Hall, go ahead. Then I'll come back to you, Leo. I can't hear you. All right. You work on that, Melissa. I'm going to go to Leo. I'll be back to you. Go ahead, Leo.
Yep, I think for me, 17 years in the business, I seem to get a lot of attention when I speak or help other agents, and it seems like I don't have that's why I'm here, is to try to formulate a concept, because I feel like I know a lot. I'm really good I've been training on sales for a long time, as you know. So when I help other agents and younger agents, I feel like I don't have a concept, but maybe something with like avoiding some of the speed bumps and some of the things that I did at the beginning, which I see them doing, and then I learned later, maybe I could have done it a different way that would have worked a little bit better. So I think that's kind of where I do get a little bit of speaking time when I'm in groups. I'm in the insurance industry, so there's all these little groups that kind of pop up in town, and hey, you want to come out and have lunch, and there's 20 agents there, and it seems like I'm a big talker, so I take a lot of the speaking time, and then after, not on purpose, it just kind of happens that way because I'm loud, or I like sharing what I've learned to help other agents.
Yeah.
And there's most of the time it's younger agents. Sometimes it's people that have been in the industry longer than me, but I have a good sized team and things like that I've kind of done and I've figured out along the way. And after we're done with the speaking and everybody goes home after lunch, I always get messages and I always get emails or texts. I'm like, hey man, I'd like to connect with you, go out with you again. I feel like I learned from you. I feel like you could help my agency, things like that. So is there, I was thinking about doing something like, not really a podcast, but more like a video, put it on video, kind of like you do. You have some stuff on video, which I'm on there all the time. I like your lives where you just talk all the way through, like your live sessions.
Yep.
That's
Well,
kind of where I'm at.
here's the deal. It's two things I'm hearing from you. One is they like your energy and they like your message, but then there's nothing for them to go to. So what I would tell you is you could do something as simple as this. You could say, I'm doing a 4-week mentoring program. It's $497 or $997. Let's say you get 50 people and you just made $50,000 more dollars.
Amen. Let's do it.
So my point is, I know it seems like complicated but I've been doing this so long. To me, it's not, I want to simplify it. I guess I want to demystify it because Leo's got something. He's been doing it 17 years, like many of you. He could go out and speak and say, hey, I'm taking 10 people. You could just say, I'm taking the 20 people over the next 4 weeks or 8 weeks. And I'm going to teach them everything I've learned the last 17 years. It's only $997. I'm only taking 20. He makes $20,000 extra dollars. So use the speaking engagement, Leo, to drive that. Now, if you want to get it to the point where you have online academies, you can always do that too. Take it and put it into that. But if you look at Monster Producer, that's my core product. We have 400 people. I've had as many as 800 people in Monster Producer. Now you get 800 people paying $300 a month, $400 a month. Just do the math on that, guys. 800 people paying $3,500. Okay. That's $2.4 million. Everybody see where I'm going with this? Now, when I go out and speak, Chris Cannon sees me speak and he comes in, we're going to push him to say, hey, if you want to be coached by Coach Burt, you need to be a Monster Producer, right? This is the program. Now, if Chris says, I don't like that, I learn better when I'm at a retreat. He's been to my couples retreats and different retreats. He may say, man, me and my wife want to learn together. And I may say, well, come to our couples retreat down at my house in Florida, right? I'm not going to try to sell him something he don't want. I'm going to listen to what he wants. Now, if he says, man, I really like this group, small group stuff, I may say, man, I got a mentoring program that's $997. This is why you need multiple products. If you only got one product, if Chris comes in and says, man, I don't learn well online, like Leo learns online. He watches, he retains. Well, some people say to me, I will never watch it online. I want to be in the room with you. And I say, well, to be in the room with me, you got to come to the lodge, man. You got to come to one of my boot camps. You got to come to Nashville, right? But I got an in the room option. Now, some people may come to me and go, I don't want to be in the room. I learn better online. Great. I got an online academy, or I live stream it. So Leo, you could take that concept, use the speaking to drive your coaching.
Yep. Sounds like maybe I was overcomplicating a little bit, thinking I had to put video together or something for them to go to versus, because I have done that actually where I'm like, hey, they're asking for so much, or maybe a broker calls me and I'm like, hey, you know what, I'm willing to jump on board and help you guys out, but I can't do it for free. And they'll actually pay me. He's like, yeah, man, I'll give you a couple grand if you just help my guys for a couple weeks.
That's
and I'm like, yeah, what?
Do it like this. But here's what I do. Do 6 teams at one time.
Yeah.
Get a couple grand from each one of them.
Yep.
And make every Zoom worth 10,000.
Yep. Makes sense.
See, you already got your $997 today, Leo. I'm feeling good about this, man.
Yeah, I already got it.
You already got all your money's worth, man. Thank you. I really like coaching Leo. He's hungry. All right. Any other questions you got? Raise your hand if you do. Okay. Okay, Melissa. All right, go ahead. I can't hear you. Sorry. If you want to type it in there, I'd be happy to answer it. Okay, for some reason, I just can't hear you. Melissa came and spent a couple days with me at the lodge last week. She left out of there on fire. I mean, on fire. All right, Chris Cannon, I'll come back to you. Melissa, you can type it in. I'll get to it. Go ahead, Chris.
So we're building out, we've got the academy that we're already building out on everything. And we're kind of, if you had to pick, like, I know you gave us the 7 things. Something we're having trouble with is getting that authority that, you know, we've done this. We've been in this business. We've done this for 13 years and we can build this. But whenever people say, well, who else have you done this for? And getting that traction, you know, how do you get that? That's the thing I'm struggling with the most is like, how do I just get, you know, in the pool with and get wet that way?
Well, this is a great question. To become an authority, guys, I spoke probably 200 times for free when I first started to anybody. You may have to take on a few people that you don't even charge, Chris, to get results, or charge a very low nominal rate. So you can say, I have worked with these people. Now, what he's really asking is, how do you elevate your authority, right? How does he elevate his authority? Because right now they're saying, well, you hadn't really worked with anybody, man. And what you got to say there is you can write white papers. The book will give you more authority, right? This is the reason you need the book, because people assume people who've written books are authority figures. Okay, even if the book ain't any good. So here's my concept. So what I would do, Chris, is just take on some sample clients. Like get a little track record. Say, man, I did it with these 3 people. When I first started, I charged very low amounts of money to get a track record, to be able to show evidence. Okay. Now, if you don't have that, you got to find some way to convince them that you're good enough. 17 years experience, 20 years of experience, put it in the book. I write white papers, blog, newspaper articles, anything that will establish you as a credit. You guys remember seeing my, if we go back to my website, one thing I want to show you is, if you go back to my website, look how it establishes me as an expert. Okay. World authority on activating prey drive. See that? Look at that right there. Featured in Forbes, Profit, Huffington Post, Entrepreneur. These are credibility indicators. This shows you that I'm not a bozo. Okay. And that's kind of what you need, Chris, is you need to give some proof, what's called social proof, or credibility indicators. I'd be willing to take on somebody like this dude that I'm going to have dinner with. He's got a $100 million company. Here's what I said to him: give me your managers for 90 days for free. And if they're not in better shape for 90 days, right, don't do anything with me. But if they are in better shape for 90 days, I want to coach everybody in your whole company. And that's going to be a 6-figure deal. Everybody see that? That's what you're looking for right there, Chris. Good question, man. All right, Melissa, we're up and working. What you got?
Okay. Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic. First of all, thank you. Last week was amazing, and I came back. We got on your legacy selling system. and we've been hitting record weeks. Okay.
Nice.
So thank you. Yeah, it's really good. So that's good. Everybody get on that. So what I wanted to know is this: do you suggest us doing an industry specific book, or should we leave it more broad?
All right, it's a good question.
Mhm.
I coached a very successful, who's now a senator, probably going to be governor of Tennessee at some point. And he owned a pharmacy. And he had this incredible book called The 7 Most Important Days of Your Life. And it was around the 7 days of creation. And it was fascinating. Like day 1 of creation was this, and he tied it to what day in your life. And then day 2 was this. I mean, it was fascinating. And he was getting counsel from people, Melissa, like, no, you need to write a book about pharmacy. You need to write a book about pharmacy. And I'm like, no, man. You got a fascinating concept here. You're a fascinating person. Like, what if you don't want to be a pharmacist 5 years from today? Like, you need to write the book, The 7 Most Important Days of Your Life, and you need to speak on it. And if people like you, they will gravitate to you. Then you say, I own a pharmacy. I do this. I do this. Like, don't get caught up in it's got to be industry specific. Being a person of interest is not specific to any industry. It's just you're a cool person in the world. You're doing big things in the world. Like if you come to me, Melissa, and say, man, I'm not on an insurance agency. I own a mortgage company and I have $10 million of real estate and I got my own private jet and I'm doing this. Like in my mind, I'm like, boom, she's the real deal. I don't care if you sell insurance or widgets or whatever you sell. You follow what I'm saying? Now, if you do sell insurance, Melissa, if you do sell insurance, then guess what? I may be interested in buying some insurance from you.
Okay. Yeah, I just say this to say because, I'm really making my name in the industry. I've already written a book. I'm already coaching people, in the industry. So I shouldn't necessarily, so even though I've already kind of done it, I shouldn't necessarily, for this next concept, this next chapter, I shouldn't even necessarily be looking to make it about insurance. Just kind of what moves me at this time.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Now, here's the deal. If you want to speak at insurance conferences, and that's all you want to speak at, maybe you do something insurance related, maybe you don't. If you want to speak on any stage, if I come to you and said, boom, hey, there's all kinds of conferences you can speak at. You don't just have to speak at insurance conferences.
Yeah,
Now, look,
go ahead.
well, I speak at the insurance conference. You saw me at 8% back to 3 times. They hadn't asked me to talk about insurance one time.
That's true. That's true.
You know that from that speaking engagement you saw me, we generated from that one engagement in Dallas, $150,000 of back-end sales for that one engagement.
I can believe that.
I spoke for 1 hour and made $150,000.
Wow.
Okay. Now, not from what they paid me. They didn't even pay me to speak at that. I sold that on the back end to people who bought my coaching services. So if you don't have anything to sell them on the back end, this was my mistake for years. I'd go speak. They'd like me. They'd buy my book. Maybe I made $1,000, right, Cynthia Elder? Maybe I made $1,000. Then I'm like, man, this is for the birds. How do I make $150,000? And I paid all the money to have the coaching. So I got coached by the top people in the world. I probably spent $25,000 to learn it. And then I take an engagement like that with 300 people and I turn it into $150,000 of revenue.
Will you be teaching us selling from the stage in this course?
Yes. And selling from the stage many times is just being so dang good that they want to run by what you got.
And that's true because I'm going to tell you, you didn't ask us to buy one thing from you.
Yep.
You didn't. When you were on there, you did not ask us to buy one thing. We went and sought you out.
I know.
So
and it's actually a turnoff for a lot of people to sell from stage. A lot of people hate it, so they don't want to be sold to. So the way to sell people is just offer so much value in an hour that people say, man, I want this guy to coach me for the next year.
Okay.
David Strauss did the same thing. He saw me speak in Dallas and he immediately, boom, I'm in. Right? Like he's an early adopter. He's an innovator. He didn't have 100 questions. He's like, sign me up. I'm in, coach. That's what I like about people who just see something and they know. I've made some mistakes in my life, guys, seeing people I knew could help me and then like messing around with going and learning from them. Like Sharon Lecter, I've known her for a year and a half, who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad with Kiyosaki. I just had dinner with her for the first time this past Saturday in Arizona. I should have had dinner with her as soon as I met her. Everybody see that? So don't mess around when people can help you. All right. Any other questions? These are all great questions. Some of you having some light bulb moments. I love that. Good. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Outwitting the Devil. It's a great book. It's a great book. She's a great woman. She's a very, very smart woman. Very smart woman. Outfitting the Devil. Guys, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you for showing up. Make sure you're good to go on all the calls. I know if there's any confusion today, we had a link. Then I told Mel I wanted everybody to register for the link, and that's my fault. Because I told my assistant, then she created another link, and I was like, well, dang, now everybody's confused. So we'll make sure you have the correct links. We will have this replay that we'll send to you, and Lake and Hibden on my team will send you the notes that I use for today. So you have that, okay? So we're going to get 6 weeks of this. If you got questions, shoot them to me. Yeah, you can get a schedule sent out. Lakin's on here with me. She handles a lot of customer service for us. Lakin, make sure everybody has the correct schedule, because I added a date in July. I started with one date in July. I just added a second one for you guys. And then I'll go into August. The date's already set. So we'll make sure you have the date, the link. If you have any question, guys, just please reach out to me. Don't hesitate. I'm here to help you. I see so much potential in each one of you, man. And it would do my heart good if something comes from this. You make $10 million worth of content. All I ask if you make 10 million is you pay for the jet fuel for me and you to go on my plane somewhere. Fair enough? That's a fair deal, right? All right. You guys have a great day. Okay. Next call, Melissa, we'll get that to you. We'll make sure we get you that. Okay. The next call is coming up. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. God bless you.